All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome into today's edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle, and as always, we're going to be diving into the markets. We're going to be diving into what happened with Binance and the SEC today. We're going to go over that briefly. We're going to go over some tokens that got listed as securities inside the crypto gaming and metaverse niche, and kind of what to look out for regarding the Binance situation, whether you should be buying currently or whether you should potentially be on the sidelines. I'll give you my takes on that as well. We'll go over today's big news, overshadowed a bit by Binance, but we see Apple unveiling their mixed reality headset, which is indeed bullish for the metaverse market. And we have some projects saying they will be on the new Vision Pro mixed reality headset, but we'll talk about that. We'll go over all the biggest news in the market. Like the video down below and subscribe for more every single day here on Banter and on In the Game. And shout out to our sponsors down below. Bybit, one of the leading exchanges across all of the cryptocurrency markets for all of your trading needs. NordVPN, always use a VPN when you are navigating throughout the crypto space and protect your IP address, your location, etc., as well as Vulcan Forge down below, one of the leading metaverse as a service platforms with Metascapes, one of the leading blockchain studios, and one of their leading blockchains with the Elysium blockchain, pardon me. And they did have some big announcements today regarding the Apple announcement, obviously overshadowed by the Binance news a bit. And as we see here, you can see just when that news came out shortly after 11 a.m. This was basically right before the news came out and the WWDC started. The Apple, which we've been looking forward to, the Apple headset announcement for weeks here on the show. And I'll cap off that with this rant of a tweet at the end, because it's very true. And I'm tired of seeing people getting other people wrecked on Twitter because they want to follow the trend. So let's go ahead and dive into this. We see Bitcoin take a sharp spike from the high 26,000 area all the way down now to 25.6. This was because SEC says that Binance misused customer funds and ran an illegal crypto exchange in the US. They filed a massive lawsuit against Binance. And as far as my niche, obviously Rand will have you covered tomorrow on his show. I'm sure Miles will talk about it tonight. Kind of like the fine print details of everything going on here with the Binance lawsuit. But whenever you look in my niche, the metaverse and the gaming tokens, not good here. As they say, the securities that they were listing, crypto assets that were considered securities. We have BNB, BUSD, Sol, ADA, Matic, File, Atom, Sand, Mana, Algo, AXS, and 𝗏𝗏𝗃. So obviously the big three here in my niche that I cover here every single day, Sandbox, Decentraland, and Axie Infinity being listed as securities. And, some of the comments here, I agree. It was bound to happen sooner or later that some of these tokens inside the gaming niche did get listed as securities. But this was a very bearish day across the markets, but definitely for stuff like Axie, which went from 745 down to about 663 at this point in time. We have Sandbox going from above 60 cents this morning down to close to 50 cents. And then Decentraland here, which started the day around 53 cents, now trading at 46 cents. So we do have quite a bit of downward movement here due to this Binance news. And it's really unfortunate. It's one of those things that you just can't prepare for, right? As an investor, as someone who had trades open, going into the WWDC announcement, the Apple mixed reality headset, it's really hard to predict this type of stuff. So I hope that, if you had a long open or something like that, you didn't have too much risk out on the table. And it's just really hard to see these type of things coming. We'll see what happens with this Binance lawsuit. I see this being a, treacherous legal battle. I probably see this ending in a settlement. And this is just another initiative. I'm here in the United States. This is just another initiative of the SEC and the Operation Choke Point trying to shut down crypto in America and trying to force CBDCs down our throats. I'm not going to have it. I'll tell you that. You can't see BDC, Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's going to be here forever. I think it's just an attack on U.S. investors. And honestly, I also think that it's obviously an attack on U.S. operations and entities that are offering crypto in the States. So I'm rooting for Binance here. I really hope that we don't see the SEC rule out crypto here in the States, but this is definitely something to watch. And it's a dark day whenever something like this comes out. It kind of felt like we were getting closer to in the clear after all the bad news that we've had over the last couple of years. I know Rand put out a tweet recently about how people have been affected by FTX, Celsius, Luna, all these big black swans. And then we have another basically black swan event coming in as Binance gets slammed with a lawsuit here by the SEC. So we'll have to keep a close eye on this. Whether or not you should be buying right now remains the question. And if you follow the strategy that we take here on In the Game, I think it's always a good time to buy whenever you see these massive, massive pullbacks in the market. If we just go to the market cap over here, we see 25.6. It's down 6%. Bitcoin's down 6% on the day, guys. I mean, that's a massive move for Bitcoin. We don't see that very often. And yes, I do think that is a pretty good buy opportunity whenever we start looking at our watch list. Phantasma. I love Phantasma, down 22%. You have stuff like Render down 15%. You have Sandbox down 13%. Not my favorite project, but still quality projects at a very big discount now. Singularity Net down 14%, Magic down 13%. So you're definitely getting some really good discounts on a lot of these altcoins. I just saw Altura, it's nearing that 3 cent mark, down 8% over the 24 hours. So some of my favorite projects are definitely at a discount. And if you have that DCA mentality going into the next cycle and you have a long-term portfolio, there's not many better days than days like this to get some nibbles and some really good accumulation prices after a big dump due to events like the SEC coming at Binance with a lawsuit. So definitely, I think a good time to add to your long-term portfolio, whether we go through a recessionary period or whether we see crypto play out in a negative light over the next couple months to year, etc. I'm not trying to bet on that. I would be betting on the long term of this industry and going into the next cycle. I do think we're starting to see, with dumps like this today, we all know gaming is going to come out on top. We all know Metaverse is going to come out on top. And I agree. Becker tweeted something today. He said, everyone laughed at Mark Zuckerberg whenever he talked about the Metaverse. The dude's the youngest, he was like the youngest billionaire ever at the time. And he flipped his company from Facebook to Meta. He sees the trends. He sees the data. And then today we see Apple following suit, unveiling the Vision Pro mixed reality headset. As Tim Cook says, this is the first device we are making where you don't stare at the screen, you stare through it, right? It kind of takes you into a different realm. And I kind of like this concept. Apple has a really sleek design. And when you look at, you can just use their applications inside of a new world if that's something you want to do, is immerse yourself into these experiences with the Vision Pro headset. So I do see a lot of positives, and eventually you could see the games being integrated on the Vision Pro and the different experiences that you could live out. And now it's Apple versus Meta, Oculus, right? And here's the thing, Oculus price point is way, way more affordable than what Apple's putting out to start. So Apple reveals the Vision Pro, and it's going to start off at $3,500, $3,499 mixed reality headset. Well, the Oculus, we just saw the Meta Quest 3 go on. They just debuted it the other day. It's going to be at a $500 price point. So they definitely have a strong grip on the market when it comes to the price point. We'll see how advanced this is going to be, as they're calling it the most advanced personal electronics device ever. But this is very bullish for VR, AR, and the metaverse, as we do see that they kind of have their own twist and experience that you can go into and just use your Apple devices, hold conferences. They kind of showed an interface like a Zoom call inside the VR that you can just utilize with Apple's technology. I definitely see a lot of positives from the presentation. They didn't use the word metaverse. They didn't use the word Web3 because that's not going to be what tailors to Apple investors and Apple fans and enthusiasts. But what they did do is present a technology that now games and metaverses like Wild. So I want to talk about this too. It was good timing this morning whenever I mentioned on Rand's show that I did feel like it was feeling like the local top of Wilder World, as it had more than doubled over the last month from 28 cents, 26 cents up to the mid 60-cent levels. And I was kind of thinking, you know, with today's announcement that it would be a buy the rumor, sell the news. And if you've been watching this show, we saw this metaverse narrative forming over the last 3 weeks. We've rode the ride on tokens like Wild, tokens like Render, tokens like Vulcan Forge whenever it had its pump, tokens like High Street, 𝗓𝗔𝗍𝗍, etc., that all had a nice little move leading up to this metaverse announcement. But what people need to understand in crypto is that a lot of the times these result in buy the rumor, sell the news events. So I want to talk about this before we talk about the positive implications that we saw from today, because the positives obviously aren't to do with the price, right? Obviously, Binance wrecked us on the price today. No matter what Apple would have said, crypto would have gone down just because of what happened here with Binance. But I saw way too many tweets today. Apple's about to change the metaverse. Apple's about to pump the metaverse. This, that, and the other. All these threads, these people who hop trend to trend, AI, this, that, looking for the most engagement possible. And they get so many people wrecked out there. And anyone who waited today to speculate on this Apple news with metaverse tokens was way behind. The run-up has been going on for weeks, and it likely plays out to be a big buy the rumor, sell the news event. And we talked about that. We talked about taking profits off the table. We talked about how a lot of that run-up was going to happen before June 5th. It's all speculation baked into June 5th. Don't be exit liquidity. Could Apple pump bags? Sure, but a lot already did. Be ahead of the big news, guys. If you're just starting to speculate today because of the 100 threaders talking about it on the timeline, you're likely late to the party. And I saw way too many threads saying, Apple's about to pump these tokens. Apple's about to change the metaverse forever. Here's why, this and that. When in reality, they were way behind. They're just chasing the trend that they saw on their timelines today. And yes, like I just said, the Apple announcement today was great for gaming tokens and great for metaverse tokens long-term, because it gives us yet another technology, another layer of tech to build upon. But at the same time, tread with caution and don't listen to every single thread that you see jumping on the latest trends, AI, DeFi, liquid staking, metaverse, gaming. Like, find the people who are actually experts in their field. The only fields, for example, that I'm looking into are the metaverse and gaming. This is all that I investigate. This is all that I research. Like, I live and breathe this industry. We called this narrative to the T over the last 3 weeks. I've given all the metaverse calls for the last 3 weeks on Crypto Banter here on In the Game, and we played it perfectly. And I mentioned it could be a huge buy the rumor, sell the news event. And in crypto and Web3, being ahead of the news pays. Being a news chaser after the fact gets you wrecked. So rant over, but man, I just couldn't stand it because people just hop trend to trend when the people who really do this, we call it for weeks and weeks here on the show, and we actually help people find those moves. We got people in on Wilder World way back here. We started talking about June 5th, which is today, almost a month ago, it feels like. You know, we've been covering this narrative and about how it could be a pump baked into the announcement. And if there wasn't a big announcement from Apple, from the metaverse side or Web3 side or projects building on Apple, that it could be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. But the positives today, we see Frank Wilder here from Wilder World tweeting, just the simple picture of the headset and the Wilder World character. And Apple enters the metaverse. Wilder World has plans to support the new Vision Pro from Apple. So this is awesome. We're going to see Wilder World's experience potentially built on Apple Vision Pro. Xion coming shortly, and that's what this was an article about it, about Apple Vision Pro and Wilder World integration plans. So very bullish for Wilder World, despite this pullback due to Binance and due to maybe an underwhelming metaverse announcement from Apple. The tech is there. The ideology is there. They're giving you another alternate reality to jump into and use for your tech and for your experiences in general. I'm very bullish on Wilder World for the future, but I do see a lot of these tokens taking a tumble in the short term. Could be good accumulations if they get cheap enough. But shout out to anyone who caught this trade. This was definitely the biggest winning trade over this time period, as it was over 100% gainer before the Binance news this morning and before the Apple announcement. But it's awesome to see that they will be building on Apple Vision Pro after they hinted last week with the Apple logo. And then obviously Vulcan Forge has taken a hit with the Binance news. It could be a really good buying opportunity. However, Vulcan Runner, one of their most addictive mobile games, is coming to VR, virtual reality, infinite running and earning. ETA is 5 to 7 weeks max. So they at Apple and Meta. So I assume this will be eventually playable on the Apple Vision Pro, as well as on the Meta Quest 3. So really looking forward to these experiences, these Web3 experiences coming to Apple. And as you see what Jamie Thompson says, the CEO of Vulcan Forge, is that Apple just gave us 100 more utilities to play with. And that's the thing. We might not have gotten the Meta announcement today. We might not have gotten this uber bullish, pump every token in the market type of narrative from Apple. And no matter what, it was hard for that to happen with the Binance news. But what they gave us, like I said, was a layer of technology that now these projects that are metaverse, trying to provide an immersive experience that takes you out of reality, that takes you out of my office and puts you into this world that you want to immerse yourself in. That's what Apple enabled today. So I'm very bullish on the announcement long term. Apple was expected to unveil its most important products in 13 years on Monday, and that's the Apple mixed reality headset. Scaramucci tweets $PYR. So as mentioned, guys, very bullish for the metaverse. I see this as a win today, despite what happened with Binance. You're getting great buy prices out there for your long-term portfolio. And then B, like I said, we have another big blue ocean opportunity here with VR, AR, metaverse being built in Apple's tech. We all know, sure, by numbers, I think people would correct me to say Android has more cell phones in circulation, sure. But the user experience that you get from this device trumps everything. The user experience that the MacBook gives you, the Apple Watch gives you, the user experience that an iPad gives you, Apple TV, for Christ's sake. They are the best at UI and developing a product that people aesthetically love to use. And what is a metaverse? It's got to be aesthetically pleasing. I'm seeing this as a huge win today. Like I said in this tweet, this is very bullish on the future, but I will end my rant here. It's unfortunate what happened with Binance today, really overshadowing the headset news and some of these projects like Wilder World and like Vulcan Forge, which will be building in VR on these platforms like Apple, like the Vision Pro. So bullish on the metaverse, guys, long term. And I do think today is one of those days where you're going to get really rare, heavy discounts on some of these tokens. You don't see many days where altcoins are down 20%. That's rare. And you also don't see many days where Bitcoin is down 6.5%. I mean, that is crazy movement for Bitcoin. So if you're a long-term buyer here, this is a really good spot to plant a couple DCAs on your favorite projects, send them over to that cold wallet, send them over to that long-term portfolio, and watch those bags ride through the next cycle. And make sure that you're still investing in quality. Because I did hear Rand this morning, if you still have your last cycle tokens in your portfolio and you're praying that they moon somehow when the bull run comes around, you need to check those projects and make sure that they're pushing product. If they're not pushing product, they aren't worth your investment, and you need to pivot those bags into investments that are worthwhile. So like the video down below and subscribe for more every single day on In the Game. Tomorrow, we won't be so gloomy about the Binance news because I have a top tier guest from a top tier project joining me once again. He's been on the show before. Big developments inside of this ecosystem. Super excited to go over. So guys, I'll be back tomorrow. As always, play well, my friends.